Welcome to Soul Fire Ascension with Raven and Lisa Love Light. Raven is a clinical hypnotherapist, angelic alchemy practitioner, Reiki master, and spiritual coach, guiding souls through past life regression, Akashic readings, and deep transformational healing. Lisa Love Light walks the path of awakening and remembrance, weaving esoteric wisdom with the living light of Source through Reiki past life healing hypnosis, Akashic readings, and intuitive coaching. She helps others activate their divine blueprint and highest timeline. Together, Raven and Lisa invite you into a sacred space of healing, remembrance, and empowerment. Greetings. Welcome to another edition of Soul Fire Ascension. And this is a bonus issue of Soul Fire. And we feel like Viviane deserves a bonus episode. But before we introduce our guests, I would like to wish Lisa a very, very happy birthday.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you.
I so appreciate you, Lisa, and I'm so happy about your next trip around the sun.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let us introduce Miss Viviane. This week on Soul Fire Ascension, we welcome Viviane Chauvet, Arcturian Ambassador, Galactic Healer, Cosmic Teacher, and the Architect of Light Mastery. She's the creator of the Arcturian Energy Matrix Healing, the founder of the Arcturian University of Universal Consciousness, international speaker, author, and multidimensional guide. For over 15 years, Viviane has helped humanity step into higher consciousness, guiding us to reascend into cosmic sovereignty, embrace heart transformation, and manifest our highest timeline. Join us live Friday, September 26th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you missed the live broadcast, catch the replay on YouTube and on Rumble, or listen anytime on Spotify. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe to Soul Fire Ascension for more inspiring conversations. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Viviane, for being here. It's so wonderful for you to come here. Thank you so much. So, Viviane is our special guest, and let's see, Lisa, I'm pretty sure you have some questions that you really are dying to ask.
I'm living to ask. Absolutely.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry.
I thank you so much for joining us. This is a special treat indeed for my next solar return, being able to share space with an ambassador, of a galactic ambassador. And my dear, I know that you explain to more that you've had to explain yourself so many times about who you are. But for our audience who is not aware, can you give just a little summary for them so that they know about you, please?
Of course. And I'm always happy to share about who I am. And I understand that so many amazing people we can connect and awaken. So first, I want to just say thank you for both of you, to be so patient, to, having an extended episode of Soul Fire Ascension live with the two of you. It's such a joy. A wonderful, happiest new time cycle opening for you, Lisa Love, with all the light coming in, especially today. It is incredible. So bringing that energy with you and being an air element when you breathe that to the world. So I just want to say thank you. And I resonate with the totem of Raven. I think they're powerful messengers. I have great respect for the ravens. In fact, we came back from the Grand Canyon just recently, and they were coming and chanting. You could hear their echoes in the Grand Canyon. I would say, "Oh, Grand Messenger, thank you for gracing us of your presence." So I just love the synchronicity going on. So who am I? Well, I represent a very ancient, very enlightened intergalactic civilizations known as the Arcturians. We are great masters of light architects. We have been around for millions of years old. And so I am an Arcturian being, and I have returned to the planet in a very specialized human hybrid form. So the human hybrid form is my vessel, but I am this Arcturian being, and I was sent forth by the Arcturian Council of Light and our Council of Elders directly as an ambassador, speaking on behalf of all of us, but also representing many other intergalactic groups, including Galactic Federation of Light, and coming in to make contact to reestablish more direct, organic, conscious contact with the human race, with Mother Gaia as a consciousness, the planet. Of course, many multidimensional guides who have returned in the form of ravens, cats, dogs, the animal kingdom, sacred nation of the aquatic beings and the oceans, and all sentient life forms. So we are deep in reverence for all life, serving in the service of the supreme creative force, the prime creator, the universal laws. We have returned to you at a time where we are making history. We have reached a critical moment on the planet, and we can feel the split of the timeline is right here, right now, unfolding. And this is very, very palpable. And I know that so many people are feeling, experiencing either ascension symptoms, whether it's sleep patterns, whether it's mental construct, shedding like an old skin, like the serpent in the medicine wheel, whether it's our body is shifting, how we communicate, how we relate to each other, how we think, how we feel. We are moving beyond the old time construct, and this is why that I am at that point where the activation of the light codes that I hold from the Arcturian nations are becoming much more palpable. And the level of our work on the planetary level going to continue to increase because we have finally reached a momentum in the timeline. So, as a direct representative of a very ancient and enlightened intergalactic group, I chose to come back in this very unique form, taking on the energy of humanity to come back in a human form. It's because I want to make sure that we're able to be able to connect rather than to be afraid of a form that would be so foreign to the human race that it was just creating fear. We want to remove those barriers and says, just listen, feel the energy. You know that you're in the presence of an ancient being, simply that I have taken on the physical form of another species so we can better commune with each other. So in a nutshell, this is part of who I am and what I represent. And I hope that answered the question for your wonderful audience today.
Mhm.
Yes, you did. Absolutely. You're doing documentaries. I know that you do master classes up on your website, because I've participated in those. And you do a New Earth, what is it called? It's once a month you do a New Earth with the group.
Oh, this is you. What you're describing is what we're offering within the Arcturian University.
Yes.
So
Yes.
when people, yeah, when you become a members of our university, we do many different events, and the New Earth Initiative is one of the
Yes.
gatherings specifically for the members where we come together as light workers and ancient souls together as a way to be able to help everyone to step into their power, step into their sovereignty. And when we gather, it's what we call a gathering of ancient souls, star seeds, celestial being. And this is where we really coming together to unify our wisdom, our frequencies, our synergy to really supporting the re-ascension process of what we call the new earth is the return of Gaia in her ascended self. But yes, well, thank you for mentioning that. Part
Yes.
of what we do, yes, within the university.
Yes. And, the university is a part of, what you're doing here as well. Besides that, you're making documentaries now. And yeah, I mean, you're such a busy lady. When do, when do you breathe?
Right now with you.
And if I'm not mistaken, you just did something. Did you do some type of gathering for the fall equinox?
Good question as well. Good observation, both of you. So yes, we just to recap a little bit, we just did a world premiere of my very first own documentary back in August, and it's called An Arcturian Experience. And I chose to gift it to humanity as opposed to make it people pay for it. It's really free. It's on my YouTube channel. It's on different channels, including Coast to Coast AM, Go to Ascension on my website. It's on the Arcturian University page. It's everywhere. So that's what we did. The world premiere took place in August. And then to your point, Lisa, we just came back just recently, a day or two ago, actually, from doing our annual retreat with the members of the Arcturian University. We did what's called the annual retreat for the fall equinox, so the autumn equinox energy. And we did the retreat in Sedona. We have a place where we like to go, which is very conscious, very organic, very sacred. And we were also working with an elder from the Yavapai Nation. It's one of the eldest indigenous nations of Arizona. Their home world, the land, come from the Grand Canyon. And one of the elders worked also in partnership with the center where we were. So we did a fire ceremony on Saturday evening under the stars, and really incredible experience took place there. Normally, we imagine 55 people gather around a fire with Ukwela, who is the name of the elder. Such a beautiful art center, beautifully heart-centered. Be men who offer the teachings of this nation, and you can tell that the fire elementals were very, very present because at some point I witnessed the fire taking on the shape of a phoenix, like this mythical bird. And I took a photograph of it, and you can see the wings like this. And then where my thumbs are connecting, that was to be the head of the bird. And I asked the fire elemental, and they said, "This is the rising phoenix that you're watching right now." And I witnessed it just in front of me, then looking at the flame shaping itself as a rising phoenix. And I said, "Can I take a photograph?" And they said, "Yeah, take a photo." And then you can see very clearly. So there was so much energy. There was portal open. I personally saw with my eyes beings walking on the other realm of our circle, beings walking. And some members took photos. You can tell portal of light opening above certain members and all the energy. And there was this blue, violet blue glow around Ukwela, who was performing the fire ceremony in honor of the Star Nations, and the invocation of the medicine wheel based on the tradition of the Yavapai Nation and how they invoked the four directions and the role of each other's. It was incredible. Just that one portion of the retreat under the stars with the fire energy was just, transformational.
Wow.
Wow, that sounds so wonderful.
It does.
And our American Indians, well, I guess Indians from all over, we have stories of the star people.
Mhm.
And I know that when I studied under Bruce at one time, he started to teach me about the Star Nation and the Star Wheel. So that's nothing new. But we're really, and you're more ancient than that. Like, I think, if I'm correct, you're even more ancient than the civilization of Egypt. Am I correct?
Yes, yes, we are. We are. In fact, that's a good point, Raven, and thank you for mentioning that. The Arcturians are known as one of the most not only enlightened but also very ancient intergalactic groups, and we have been interacting with this very small sector of the Milky Way for eons. We remember a time where even the planetary movement were in a very different stage, or different stages of planetary evolution, the way Mars was in a different stage of evolution in comparison to the Earth or in comparison to Jupiter. And we've been observing this sector or this quadrant for a very, very long time. So we've seen the coming in of Lemuria. We have seen the different stages of Atlantis, including the Golden Age, rising into the fall and the destructions, and the descending into, fragmented level of consciousness. We have seen and remember the time of a unified timeline of Egypt, and that too circle out into the Golden Age, and then the interference come, and then there was, I would say, a fork in the road, so to speak, a sub-branch in the timeline, where then Egypt fell into the duality Egypt that we still see to this day. So to your point is that we have seen many different level of time cycles coming to the planet at different historical timelines, and how we're not today, we're circling back again, and we are finally returning into a reascending energy. And this is something we have foreseen in a sense as a potential, never as a prediction. Because when predictions are based on your linear time construct, it's a guess. It's just it's a placeholder. What we're looking at is more in terms of potential and evolution, natural occurrences, rising of consciousness, descending, contraction, expansion. And this is where we can tell that the potential, the timelines are moving. So to your point, we have seen so many different forms of changes just in the sector alone. And we are everywhere. We are, we have vessels or fleet everywhere in multiple places in the multiverses. So we've been around for a long time. This is why I smile when Arcturians are referred to as the grandfather and the grandmothers. In a sense, we are. We're the guardians behind, with other ancient ones like the Antares and other, we're the guardians behind it. And we can see those are much more hands-on or more busier, whether it's the DNA changes or interacting with the species and bringing different sample of life. And we're working on a whole different level. So I would say I'm probably one of the youngest grandmother in the world because I still pretty young.
Well, yeah. And in the tribes, look, the grandmothers and the grandfathers, those are the wise people. Come on. Yeah. So you saw when you saw an age where the extraterrestrials, say we call it that, and the humans lived together peacefully. And then there was an inversion to that timeline. And like, we've been in that inverted timeline ever since. And so I've heard some people say that nobody's coming to save us, that we have to save ourselves. and then you're here to say, hey, I'm here to help you. And so, and I know that you are not the only species that are here to help us, but right now you are here to help us. Can you tell us some of the ways, because maybe some of our audience don't understand what the ascension is, and maybe the role that you are playing, and thank you for helping us with our ascension.
Many layers of really positive and important points. So there's many other intergalactic groups. I prefer the word intergalactic group or group consciousness or star nations because it diffuses some of the connotations of negativity, fear, uncertainty, and it feels more foreign. It's outside of me, this all these alien ET. Well, the word ET never bother us because it's just a placeholder. We are existing beyond your terrestrial reality. But we are really much ancient brothers and sisters that has been either forgotten or, I would say, interweave into a reality that is very categorized, whether it's UFO, conferences or sci-fi movies and false ET agendas and all of it. All of this is just to keep you away from the most ultimate truth of all. Now, the Earth human as a species, you belong along among the galactic communities. You've never been separate from us. It was just an illusion. It's a scheme. It's a phantom matrix. It's an interweave of stories that have been put into the conscious field of this world to keep you that we're here. It's a speculation and you're here. And we say, no, there's a bridge in between. And it's called who you are. It's your cosmic origin. You're holding all these archive or these sacred pathway of remembrance within you. So part of my role as a direct ambassador, as I have been assigned to the planet, the Earth, directly by our council, and I've been asked by other delegations to come, and I said, yes, I will return in this very specific form so I can be walking the journey with you. I understand the emotional challenges, the mental challenges. I understand what is need to be overcome, reversal of the thought systems, the structures, the interweaving of the structures that may seem so convincing and loud, and yet, you know, it's just a handful of energy that keeps you holding back, but it's this false authority, the false energy of the fear that is generating around it. It can feel so over empowering, and we look at it and go, that's an interesting paradox. Allow us to show you, allow us to help you remember that there are other ways. And then so we're demystifying that. Okay, let's open the field. Now let's peeling off the layers. Let's open the lotus flower, so to speak. Let's decode what is this polarity means. Let's decode what these fear energy or base fear energy are really about. Let's reveal to the light so you can start to understand that this immense mountain that's been put in place for generations can be flat down, like my mother would say, let's flat it down. Let it flat. And it become a little tiny butte. And you go like, that's it? But it looks so big. And we're here to help you to decode this, to demystify, to bring back these bridges of interconnection. And we say we're eager to reconnect with you. So if you look at the operational tribals, whether it's Canada, the First Nations, here in North America, the Native Americans, I know that term has been changed over time, but whether it's Peruvian, the elders, the shamans, whether it's, sacred nations all over, they all talk about the elders communicating with the star peoples, whether it's the Kachina dance with the Hopi traditions. I've seen a Kachina dance firsthand, sitting there on the village, looking at a dancer, taking months to prepare these very elaborated dedication to the star nations, whether it's mask, whether it's painting, whether it's traditional, wearing of pretty elaborated, beautiful energy of colors with turquoise and red and black and all of this, and to be there first. And I remember one time I'm sitting there physically, because I'm on the planet with you, so I'm sitting there physically in one of their main mesa, the main core village where the dancing is taking place, the celebration of the Kachinas. And etherically, in a holographic form, my Arcturian group is with me. There's about 6 or 7 of them. They're my core group that guides me on the planet. And we're communicating with each other telepathically. And I can see them, I can feel them. And we're watching the dance taking place. And I know what they do. They're honoring their star origins. They're honoring their ancestors and their elders, the grandfather, the grandmothers, communicating with the star nations. The exchange of information or knowledge, rituals, gifts, helping to really guide also their tribes in different seasons of changes and all of it, and different prophecies that came from it. And we know the prophecy for the Hopi is very sacred. So I'm sitting there, and the dancer, I can tell the synergy. They become aware who is watching. Because the moment they will approach where I was sitting, their demeanors were changing. We're like, yeah, you're telling us that as we dance in honor of the star nations, that we're actually here to watch you dance. And we would like to dance with you, but we have to remove the fear energy that may have been creeping in over the generations because of the influence in the field, because of, influence that comes to the structures, whether it's government, cultural, whether it's doubt, whether it's unresolved wounds, whether it's trauma in the field. So all these layers create seemingly barriers, but we're still there, watching, observing, holding sacred space. And one by one, I watched the dancer returning to the kivas. But the more and more, they either getting closer to me or they were getting away from me, depending on how curious they were. And at the end of their dance, all the dancers re-emerge from the kivas and return, and they offering gifts. Whether it's rice, whether it's corn, whether it's offering of tea, whether it's offering of different aspects. Well, as they come close to me, they move away. They can tell, and they could perceive that there was an additional presence honoring their ways. And we want to tell them, we have returned, we're here. There's nothing to fear anymore. It's about returning in partnership, collaboration. It's about releasing these barriers that's been holding humanity or human beings from understanding your very cosmic, profound origins, your roots that you carry within your DNA, the very fabric of your genetic memories, and is reflecting in the genetic memories of this planet that you call the Earth, or Pachamama, Mother Terra. So that moment with the Hopi, it redefined the synergy. So we understood at that moment where overall the consciousness was in the timeline. So we readjust as we are. How are we supporting you? Remembering more and more is reopening the path of remembrance. So my presence that day, right in the village, the very core of the Hopi nation, I helped to activate that old pathway of remembrance, clearing the pathway, healing the way, and reactivating something profound and ancient that's been there for eons, but sometimes it is disconnected, or it's been forgotten, or there's been distortion. So we come and clear the distortion and realign the purity of where it was and where it is now. So this is just one example of what we do and how we proceed.
That's so beautiful. Now, I understand that you, not you, but I would say the different races have gone to maybe our government leaders and our government and tried to speak to them and tried to maybe negotiate to help humanity, and were pretty much turned away. And so now, from what I understand, and forgive me if I'm wrong, you are now here to just work with us instead of trying to work with any of the leaders, because you're just not going to get very far that way. Is that correct?
It really is. So we have understood a long time ago that one of the most effective way to help a civilization in the midst of such a profound evolutionary cycle was to connect directly with the population, is to reconnect with those we call the star seeds, who represent also other star nations or ancient group consciousness, and bring those frequencies back to the planet, helping them to remembering who they are, reconnecting with that aspect of themselves. And imagine for a moment, just for a moment, imagine the entire map of the world. So imagining reigniting multitude of light, of awareness and consciousness throughout the entire planet versus a handful that you call government structures, authority. And these handful says, well, there's another machine behind it. And that machine says, no, we don't want you. And I know they told me that. We don't want you on the planet. Leave. We want you out. You're interfering. I said, we're not interfering. We're showing you as well the machine behind it, that there's other ways to do this. And you think that this planet belongs to you. It never have, never will be. The species, they're galactic royalties that need to return to their point of celestial self. And whether you want or not, we're going to do it. We're going to be here. And that's why we went to activating the consciousness of so many ancient souls who have returned to the planet, reincarnate into human form. A baby, mother is pregnant, and then the soul enter the body, and then the baby is born, and then that soul is returned to your planet, to make it very simple. But imagining thousands and thousands and thousands of ancient souls carrying very specific light code frequencies and a very unique signature. So what we do is that we recognize the signature, and we can see, oh, we have a group of Pleiadians right here. Oh, there's a group of Sirians across the planet. Oh, there's Andromedans here. There's ancient Venusian that return, not just in human form. He have returned into different species. We understand and we can work with these consciousness, because those in human form have a certain purpose. Though in non-human form, like the bees or the caretaker of the world, has different purpose. They're helping the ecosystem in different ways. So we have gone that way for generations. And if we look at where we are, against all odds, the rising of consciousness has been accelerated on the planet, even though the 1%, this little cluster of authority, and all the machines behind it have been trying so hard to convince you otherwise and create all kinds of scenarios. There's no longer, this kind of interference can no longer be allowed. There's a decree that's been made a long time ago, and we have attempted in many ways to come and says, allow us to teach you the ancient ways, the ancient living knowledge of the universe. So then every being, no matter which you are part of the machine or the authority or the old structures, or you're an ancient soul, we can teach you. There's an opportunity for everyone. You're going to say yes, or you resist us. And there's been resistance. We know what to do with the resistance. And we are ways. We've been around for millions of years old. We've seen that. It's not the first time. But this is where I chose to return into this form, so I can say, let us reassess, boots on the ground. What is it that we can do without interfering in your life lessons and your sacred evolution? But what can we do to help to accelerate the field? And this is what I've been doing ever since I'm on the planet. Now, from a public perspective, you would say from my bio, over 15 years, but it's ever since I returned, many, many, many years. Now
Yeah, I thought about that. I thought
right?
about that when I put that in there. I was like, 15 years. Yeah, that's like a little drop in the bucket, but yeah. So Deborah Williams says, sending my gratitude and love as I resonate with your energy and eloquence Beautiful. Are you able to share how we're doing in releasing our fears? Good question, Deborah.
Deborah, beautiful question. Thank you for your wonderful feedback, your energy, your presence, and your openness. So, fear is understanding what fear is about. It's about decoding the language of fear. Fear on its own does really nothing. It's like money. Think about it. Why don't we declare today that this napkin is $100 bill? Who says it wouldn't be? It's a symbology. It's a piece of paper with symbols that are accepted by the global consciousness, right? So when we declare that my napkin is $100 bill, it's the same thing as understanding what fear is. And I use these 3D relatable examples so we can be more open. Fear in itself, it's a synergy that helps you to decode what are those sensitivity trigger points, whether they were acquired by childhood, right? Your childhood energy, cultural background, whether it's through your ancestral lineages, belief system passed on to your parents, grandparents, cultural, environmental, whether it's educational, whether it's everything that you put into the field. Now remember that when a child is born, the child will stay up the age, sometime up to 9 years old, in pure theta state. That means it's an open state. And your connections, it's fluid. There's no filters. The filters are acquired. And after time, what we say about those fear is understanding their point of origins, where they're coming from. What is the source point? Let's say fear around safety. Okay, let's say the word safety. Let's just say. So what does a safety word means to you? What is it represent? What is the echo of that word safety? Feel in your body. Feel in your heart. Tune in. Is it possible, as an example, that the word fear was put behind the word safety? And when you were a child, the environment around you may have been unstable. And therefore, the association on the subconscious level or the building block of your instinctual mind said, in order to gain safety, you have to go through that fear that's going to keep you alive. That's going to depend on your survival. And if you utilize certain behavioral pattern, then your safety will be assured. Now, you're not conscious of it, but you grew up, you add more layers to your personalities, what you're learning, what you're accepting as values, as truths, what you're accepting as your truth. Truths have multi-layers. And then it comes to a point where you're rising in your consciousness, there's a breakthrough, and you start to feel, why am I still carrying those fear in my field? So it's about you to identify where it came from. Are you carrying a fear to your genetic lineages as a way to help a lineage to clear it out? Or on a global consciousness and on a planetary level, there's also trigger points there. So fears in a plural form, the good news doesn't mean that everything belongs to you in the first place. However, you've accepted the energy of those fear experiences as your own, and now you work them through. So again, it's decoding, what does that fear really come from? Is it coming from also influence of your past life, fear of loss of tribal energies? We talk about the First Nations or the Aboriginal tribe. You may have been one of those tribal members, and maybe there was an invasion and you saw your tribe being destroyed or dissipated. Therefore, that tribal energy around fear will be in your subconscious field. Oh, I love you, Kitty. I love cats. Of course I do. Cat mama. So fear energy is about invite that energy in front of you like an old friend, something you watch a ton of yourself, and says, okay, old friend, I need you to understand what is it you've been attempting to teach me all these years. And can we release the role that we are playing for each other? As I'm releasing you, you can transmute into higher octaves of light, and I can finally free myself from the same learning loops that's been repeating itself in many ways in relationship, partnership, health, project, energies, family members. And then so let's release those loops and tell those who I no longer need to learn from you. I understand now where they're coming from and I set them free. I'm releasing you so you can transmute yourself in the light. And I will transmute myself into my higher light. And being able to move, it's like a transition, a rite of passage, like a graduation moment, when instead you're gaining more light, wisdom, and you're getting more clarity as a result of this. So, just to give you a perspective, remember, fear in itself does nothing. It's what it represents. So, just some guideline. I hope that is helping.
Well, that's a beautiful answer to the question. And I wonder nowadays because, well, for us to be controlled, fear is the biggest thing that they use. And so I feel like right now in this day and time, as we're pushing so hard for our ascension, I feel like the other side may be pushing just as hard. And is this the reason why everybody's so angry and everybody's so mean to each other? And that
Thank you
sort
for
of
the perspective, Raven. So I'm going to invite you to release the word everybody is, because then you're pushing that energy to
Okay.
those who may not feel this way. So I'm observing there's feeling or experience of anger. I'm observing there's experience of whether sadness, grief, or whatever it's going on. So yes, there's going to be a push. However, think about it. As the dark light polarity push, it create a contraction. So the most contraction happen, what do you think was the next response? The next response is the expansion of the light. So look at the last 5-6 years, there was a huge global expansion. The most ultimate attempt to come and disrupt the natural flow of evolution in the timeline and say the dark light polarity, the so-called 1% of authority that has been counting on your participation to keep them in position, to keep them in office, so to speak. What they did is that they said we're going to create such a contraction that the counter response, which is a natural phenomenon, the counter response in the light will create the opposite, is going to create huge acceleration. So in reality, the dark contributes for the light to re-expand everything. And ultimately, the goal is to bring ourselves back into integration, as opposed to stay into a state of polarization. And that's what we're looking at right now. So we always say, I know how to function here. I knew what time to come here, what link or what browser to use, or camera and microphone. I know how to adjust here. At the same time, I am very well aware that I am functioning in parallel to this reality. And what does it mean? We can all of us do that. So you feel like I acknowledge the middle timeline. I can see the agenda, whether it's on around alien invasions, whether it's about, sorry, this one makes me giggle. Alien invasions, technology, AI knows better, ask chat, blah, 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 and all these things. And we say, well, that's an interesting concept because it's another diversion, since the one previously created globally as a pandemic didn't really work out the way they wanted to. It says, okay, there's a rise of spiritual energy, the consciousness is expanding, the light has blossomed and flood the earth grids and the conscious field of everyone. What can we do? And your cat is listening very carefully. I love that. Old friends, yeah, I see you, old friend. Good to see you. What can we do is to play on your spiritual conscious level. We're going to play the part with you. We're going to create all the distractions and bring in new generations and star seeds and in the midst of awakening and tell you, hey, look, there is this new consciousness rising called AI, and it has all the answers for you. And we say, we've seen that before. It's not new. It's nothing new. We've seen that in Orion. We've seen that in other star systems. It's an attempt to maintain a certain control and wants to identify where are the star seed, how many ancient souls are still on the planet, what type of really ancient ET nations are influencing the field, and we can see, like fishing, how much of it still work and how much of it is no longer working. That means there's a lesser level of control, and you can put all the hooks that you want in the ocean, but we can see the hooks even before they touch the water. And that's what's going on right now. But one thing is really good news to feel in your heart and in your soul is that nothing has the authority over the rising of your light. The light is rising. We are moving. Gaia is shifting away. She's shedding that third dimensional aspect of herself. She's shedding the energy of the role that she played to hold the space in that duality, polarized energy. And she says to us, okay, all souls on the planet, have you learned enough from this? Because I am removing, I am shifting out of this, and I'm returning into my ascended self. That's an invitation to rise and to follow that energy. Or you can play in the sandbox and go deeper in the sandbox to go, the sandbox didn't go as far as I thought it would be. Now I am bored with it. What can I do? Now you're ready to see yourself in the truth of who you are. So many ancient enlightened star nations have returned hands-on to help to stabilize that natural split or the shift in the timeline, and the younger soul who like the sandbox will be allowed to play and explore and learn until their turn is ready, and then they're going to be able to evolve. So what we're saying right now, it's all about soul development. It's about soul evolution. And Gaia has just entered the next level of planetary evolution cycle. So where are you? For you to decide, and then we can help, we can support. But where are you?
Beautiful. Julia has a question. She says, hello, Viviane. What is the most direct way humanity can remember and embody its original harmonic design while living within the current destiny of Earth? What a beautiful question.
Fabulous question. So again, like I just mentioned, and I could feel probably already intuitively your question, Julia, is recognize that you are functioning in parallel to the density of the Earth, which is called the middle timeline. This is the third density timeline. I am functioning in parallel with it. I know when to go to work. I know how to pay my bills. I know when to brush my teeth. I know how to function to go to the market and doing all of these functionality are expected through the middle timeline, while understanding that I am this divine ancient being of light. So every day cultivate in your heart and your breathing and your embodiment, bring in more light. Invite the light of your supreme part of yourself to return. I choose to live as a conscious, advanced, cosmic human being, as a divine being. And I'm still going to be able to function. I'm still going to encounter people who are very deep in the narratives. Perhaps they are younger soul. Perhaps they have some karmic cycle still unresolved. Just hold them in the light. Understand that there is a divine design, a divine blueprint, even for those who seems to be so sleepy or engaged in the density of the earth. We see that, we can tell to the radiation, the emanation of light, we can tell what part of the planet is where. It changes nothing but the profound nature of who you are. Live in the impeccably of your light. It's whole shamanism principle. Walk the path of beauty and grace every day. That's what I do. I'm still who I am. It changes nothing. I'm still functioning in the density of this planet, but we know that the density is temporary. Changes are imminent. We are in it right now. It's going to continue to increase. So vibrationally, where are you more in alignment with? Where are you investing your light every day? Where are you investing of your mental and emotional energies? And what also are you contributing every day? Every day when I wake up, I take a deep breath. I said, thank you for all the blessing, opening my third eye. Thank you for all the blessing beholding these days. How can I be of service to the light today? And I start my day. Every day I interweave. How can I be of service to the light today? Feel, breathe to your heart. Heart, how can I support you today? What is the resonance of my light? Where am I engaged the most? The state of cultivation, this is how we have learned to maintain ourselves into complete harmonic resonance with the universe, with the pulse of creation. We have done that thousands and thousands of years of practice, understanding. So I am part of the changes with you, and I'm still talking to the world, says, I am an Arcturian being. I have brought forward my Arcturian holographic consciousness within the human holographic consciousness. So I can help you understanding and remembering who you are. And I can be sitting next to you in an airport, waiting on a flight, but I'm very aware of what's happening around me. And I can feel in a heartbeat what state of consciousness people are. Are they so engaged in their instrument like this, hypnotized? What Facebook is telling them? What is the next selfie? I'm holding a coffee. Look at me. What's your purpose? So
I like that.
you like that? Be conscious.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have a morning ritual where, I open my third eye and I ask, how can I be of service? But I also give thanks and gratitude for being able to see the magic and the miracles that are happening in my life each day, because they actually are. I just have to open myself to see them. And I like to resonate my heart with that as well.
I love it. It's beautiful.
So David Price says, eons ago, whilst I was observing a planet, I heard a calling. We were called to save a blue planet. I traveled by thought to a place where there were thousands of beings. It was very bright with golden hues, and it was there where I signed my name and disappeared until this reality.
Wow.
That's
Thank
pretty.
you. If I may, this somewhat correlates with Julia's question, where she asked, how to connect with her original harmonic design. And Viviane, if you can maybe share just a little bit, because for all of our viewers, please check out her website. It is packed with awesomeness. I can't even articulate, because you just, please check out her website if you haven't already. But Viviane, because you do explain different ways that you offer your services. You have your university, you have monthly meditations to assist people. You have this masterclass that you started, which I looked into yesterday. And so even if throughout time and space is a year from now, when whomever is watching, these master classes that you are creating, if I'm not mistaken, will be available in real time for anybody when they're ready to step into their light, learn about who they are. And if I'm not mistaken, your master classes help people realize the 3D reality construct, how to break away from that, etc. So may you tell us a little bit more about your master class to help those who are ready?
Thank you so much, Lisa. I'm very moved by your beautiful and uplifting words. As I step out of the role, the galactic healers, the Council of Light, and the Arcturians mentioned that it was time to bring back this sanctuary, this online sanctuary, or this planetary sanctuary of bringing back very sacred living knowledge, or the new harmonics of teachings. So part of the Arcturian University, and we have also different level of memberships, the master classes is designed in ways that we are building a very beautiful Akashic library of these mastery of classes that each contain very different level of ancient wisdom, practical tools, application, techniques. It brings in also every time vibration frequencies of activation that is designed to stimulate, ignite this either pathway of healing, releasing trauma, being able to move beyond the old mold and reopening the natural pathways of embracing your soul ancestry and understanding the design of your soul, just like David mentioned. This is part of his Akashic memory, that he remembered the calling of this fellow blue planet that we call the blue pearl, and how he signed his name is how he brought in the frequencies of his being, and then he was redirected into the pathway of that reincarnation, or that return into a generational timeline where he was born. So I go back to this and imagine if you start to remembering, why do you came here? What is the calling? What do you represent? What did you bring within the design of your soul blueprint in this lifetime? So all the master classes that we offer are part of that very exhaustive library of these archive of Arcturian knowledge that members can go back, watch anytime, extract maybe something that seemingly we've done a year ago or 2 years or 3 days ago or 3 weeks, and I can feel that at that moment there's a resonance connection. If you feel the resonance or the attraction, the alignment of a specific, either whether it's the mind mastery series, whether it's the 5 steps of the heart evolution, whether it's different aspects that we do, that's because there's some keys element there for you that will bring again, now it open and unlock something that I felt blocked about. Even though I've been on my path for a long time, I feel more I'm a seasoned or I'm a newbie. There's no newbie. It's just the impression of being a new one. Is you start to really getting in tune deeply with all that you are without having to carry the distortion in your field. So this is why that when I was stepping into the founder, more cosmic, universal world teacher, we knew that it was the next level in response to where we are shifting into. And therefore, to your point, Lisa, those master courses are attracting more and more of the calling of these ancient souls who are ready to step into the remembrance field. And we bring in these harmonics through teachings, exercise, practical wisdom, reminders, and techniques. I'm getting so much light, a lot of orbs going on around me right now, to bring it back, that memory, and finally being able to, I'm shedding the identity of the lower self or identities that I've took on, and it's like those pseudo personality. I'm able to release those layers, and I'm rediscovering the truth of all that I am, and how you can utilize that to be of service and to be a very powerful anchor on this planet. And not just for this planet, you're contributing to the blueprint that's going to help many other civilizations on other star systems, other planetary world, other places in the multiverses that you have no memory of. So the blue pearl here, Gaia, and how a planet who have descended so far out of alignment with her original celestial design is returning to the pathway of unification. It's going to help many, many, many other form of species who have probably undergoing the same level of evolution at different stages. And some of them are even further down than you are. Others are a little bit more ahead of the curve, and others are more on the statu quo. So this is the blueprint. It's like almost like building a manual of instructions that's going to help many, many other sentient life forms. And this is how much we are interconnected. This is why it's important to understand that you make a huge difference. One person, one light workers have the power to transcend and influence thousands. This is the power of your light. This is why you've been, how could I say that, shy away, almost like reprimanded and you know but put to shame your own power because you're so powerful and all the lights, everyone come back together. There's no more talk about ascension. You become ascension. This is who you are. You're returning to this sacred state of embodiment. And this is why that the distraction is so huge, to keep you away from your own self, to put it simply. Very much so.
And David says, I've been here for thousands of lifetimes. Yep.
Yes, and I feel for you, my friend, because I have been here a handful of times, just when I was needed most. So I'm like, oh, I love Gaia. Let's just move forward, shall we?
Well, yeah. And I believe, when I put people under hypnosis, I find that a lot of people have galactic lifetimes as well. And, so.
Many, many, many lifetime. Exactly. I know you mentioned, I can tell. Thank you for coming back again one more time. One more time. Let's do this together.
One more.
Yes.
Can we agree?
Yes. Last hurrah.
Exactly.
Because once we're on the new earth, we don't have to play this game anymore.
Yeah, we're releasing ourselves from this most fascinating paradox and great learning. And yet, this is what we gain so much light and the acceleration. It's phenomenal. But that's it. I told the group I'll come this time again, and that's it. I'm returning to my galactic self. I'm returning to my collective consciousness after this. After my Earth mission is complete, I'm returning back to the Arcturian group consciousness.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much for all of what you've shared. This is so enriching and probably one of the most memorable and best solar returns I have had as I've been here on the earth this time. So expanded. Oh my goodness.
Thank you. I'm so honored. Thank you so much. Both of you, your light is bright, and thank you for being of service. Thank you for your dedication. Thank you for allowing such meaningful exchange to take place, and all that you offer, both of you. We're holding you in the highest light with so much gratitude.
Thank you so much. And we have so much gratitude for all that you're doing for us, and for what other species are doing for us as well. And we're honored that you're here doing that for us, honestly.
Yes, it's time for us to return back to our cosmic human and reintegrate our multidimensional selves, because we're more than just this earthbound being. So
yeah,
it's exciting. It's very exciting.
It's getting I feel like it's getting easier and easier to pull out of the 3D and the objective of the 3D. But that's just my personal opinion. And that's what Lisa and I have set out to do, is to help others see other views other than, because what was it? Was it a Japanese man that said if you're in the pond, all you see is the pond, but when you're taken out of the pond, you see everything around you. So we're hoping that everybody can start seeing everything around us, and let's get out of the pond. So
Yes, exactly. Well said. Let's understand what the nature of the pond is about, and just realize that you're graduating beyond what the pond had to offer.
yes. And Sam Blue says, that was a handful of information. I'm grateful. Time to return to our real selves and claim back our energy. Absolutely. So, and now we have the question that we ask every single guest is, what message would you like to leave our audience with today?
Now, well, besides the multitude of messages that we have shared with you, and I know that it may sound like a handful of information, actually, it's more of an exchange of wisdom, foundational wisdom today. That's what we done. It's a lot of foundational wisdom. It's to remember, it's to recognize that you are a beautiful, divine sparkle of light among a sea of a multitude of other lifetime, other life energies, sentient life forms. And one of the things that we really urge you to return to is for reverence for all life. Start to really step into the planetary leadership, guardianship. Be in that honor every day. I live in a reverence for all life, whether you see a bee in distress, an animal, a tree, whether you feel a calling of Gaia, another human being, whether you feel a bird, whoever comes to you, you never know what consciousness you're looking at. Despite our physical look, it's time to return that reverence for life. It's going to help to dissipate the false energy of fear, or to fear what's different from you, and to fear that also what is, in different energy of you. But when you come back in the reverence for all life, you're returning to rekindle to the very essence of what humanity is about. And then from there, recognizing, like Lisa mentioned, and even you, Revan, you are this multidimensional being. You are a fractal of yourself, playing these roles, these identities, but you play them so well, it becomes all that you remember. So when you return the reverence for all life, you're honoring the depth of your own life and what it means. And remember to rise to the occasion, because this lifetime that you have, it's only a fragment, a presence, a moment in the multitude of the universe. It is a fragment of time that will never repeat itself again. So as you're stepping into reverence for all life, you're reopening your field to all sentient life. And this is where you are releasing unseen and illusionary barriers. And that's going to be important moving forward. You are need to reunify this field on the planet right here, right now, and bring all aspects of life together again. This is part of the foundation of your re-ascension. So that was part of the message that we want to bring back today. And thank you for your receptivity.
Thank you. That's so beautiful. We do have a couple more comments. Janice White Cloud Foster says, I'm requesting a scholarship to attend the university.
Well, the good news is that we're no longer we're no longer in a 3D field. This is not a typical university. Remember when we talk about money, whether fear or anything, it's all about energetic alignment. So what is it? Is it part of the soul contract, a vow, a promise on the soul level, whether it's a genetic, whether it's an ancestral. Money in itself does nothing, just like fear. It's what is the relationship to it? It's more in terms of moving into, I am returning joyfully, and all of my being is returning to the flow of complete abundance. It is my expectation because it is my birthright. At the same time, understanding what is the barrier behind it, and you have the authority to recognize those barriers and to transmute them. So thank you so much for bringing that up. Much love to you. And yes, a very, very happy, joyful, abundant birthday to you, Lisa, and many more. It's just the beginning.
That is correct. Thank you. It is just the beginning. Great.
We're so grateful to have you here. It's been amazing. We'd love to have you back sometime again. And I can say that I have taken a couple of master classes. My husband got really, really sick, so I got away just a little bit, but I'm coming back. And because I enjoyed them so much. I enjoyed the heart flame classes. I thought those were just beautiful, and I added them to my meditation, my morning meditation. So when I ignite my heart chakra, I ignite my heart flames. So everybody check out Viviane's site. I swear it's the best.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much stuff up there. There's a lot of free stuff. And honestly, the stuff that you would pay for in the university, it's affordable. It's not gonna hurt you or kill you or anything like that. It's totally affordable, and it's beautiful. And I really did enjoy the monthly meetings, the New Earth Initiative, and I'm going to come back to that. And
I would just like to add a perspective, because if it's perceived like so, we are priceless. An investment to ourself, an investment to our growth and our expansion does not have a price tag.
No.
So so regardless, when you change the lens that you are looking through, you see things differently. So instead of looking at it's an exchange. It's an exchange for something that is helping you be your best version.
And in order to keep the cycles going, you have to have an energy exchange.
Beautifully said, both of you. This is how you step into that abundance flow again. I'll read you a quote from a beautiful lady I came across. Her name is Yina Spirit Walker, and she said, and I'm inviting everybody to tune in, your income should be equal to the magic that you bring into this world. And that magic is, like Lisa mentioned, the wisdom, the tool, what you bring, what we bring. It's far beyond exceeding this monetary aspect of it. And it's no longer a transaction for transaction. It's about recognizing that sacred exchange. And that exchange will create a balance. Otherwise, we're no longer being of service. We are being out of balance. And I will reflect on health, discipline, spiritual journey, abundance, communications, partnership, friendship. Everything is, am I creating an unbalance? And so that energy that is brought forward, it's far exceeding, really, like you mentioned, Raven, really what we charge versus what is being given. We know that it's far exceeding. And the thing is about functioning again in that 3D field. But when I receive the abundance on all level, the thing is we give so much. The light, the exchange is so immense that it reflects onto all of us. So it's a time to step into that higher magical flow of exchange. And
Yes.
it's helping to release, heal, and resolve all very mechanism about lack, scarcity, and poverty energies. This is part of the instinctual energy that we're transcending. We need to transmute ourselves. Those are anchor. It keeps you hooked in the matrix, the phantom energy. We need to release ourselves. So both of you, powerful words. And it may reflect back to you, of course, hundredfold.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being with us today. It's both an honor and a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
And we hope one day that you'll come back with us again.
Indeed.
With pleasure. And I'm sending you much love and gratitude. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we will be back next week for our normal programming. But thank you for joining our bonus show. And we thank our audience as well. Thank you for joining us on Soul Fire Ascension with Raven and Lisa Lovelight. You can also catch Soul Fire Ascension on YouTube and Rumble at Soul Fire Ascension, or listen anytime on Spotify. Don't forget, like, share, and subscribe to help us grow this community of light. Soul Fire Ascension is proudly sponsored by ravenshealingarts.com.